There's a kind of courage that lives in silence. The kind that doesn't announce itself, doesn't ask for recognition, doesn't even want to be seen. Your cat knows this courage intimately because every day they're carrying a secret weight you might never notice. See, cats are masters of the invisible struggle. Where dogs wear their hearts on their sleeves, cats have learned something different, something ancient and wild. They've learned to hide their fear so completely, so convincingly, that even the people who love them most can miss the signs entirely. It's a survival instinct hardwired into their DNA, whispered down through thousands of generations. Never let them see you're afraid. But here's what most people don't realize: that brave face your cat shows the world, it comes at a cost. And today, I'm going to show you 5 subtle signs that your fearless feline is actually terrified, but working incredibly hard to hide it from you. Let's pull back the curtain. Number 1. The frozen statue. You've probably seen it. Your cat suddenly goes completely still. Not the relaxed stillness of contentment, but something different. Something tense. Their body becomes a sculpture, barely breathing, eyes locked on something you can't quite identify. This isn't confidence. This is fear disguised as composure. When a cat freezes like this, they're essentially holding their breath against the world. It's an ancient predator and prey response. If I don't move, maybe the danger won't see me. Maybe it will pass. In the wild, this freeze response could mean the difference between life and death. Your domestic cat doesn't face those same threats anymore, but their nervous system doesn't know that. What makes this especially heartbreaking is the effort involved. Your cat isn't just standing still, they're actively suppressing every instinct to flee. Their heart is racing. Adrenaline is flooding their system. But outwardly, perfect stillness. Perfect control. It's exhausting and it's invisible. Watch for the subtle tells. Whiskers pulled tight against their face, tail tucked close to their body, pupils dilated even in bright light. These are the cracks in the brave facade. Number 2. The phantom grooming. Here's where cats become true artists of deception. When stressed or frightened, many cats will suddenly start grooming themselves, and to the untrained eye, this looks like the most normal, casual cat behavior imaginable. But it's not casual at all. Behavioral scientists call this a displacement behavior, an action that serves no practical purpose in the moment, but helps the animal cope with overwhelming emotions. It's the equivalent of a nervous person fidgeting with their hair or biting their nails. Your cat isn't grooming because they're dirty. They're grooming because they're terrified and don't know what else to do with the feeling. The key difference between genuine grooming and fear grooming is the context and intensity. If your cat suddenly interrupts what they're doing to frantically lick their paws after a loud noise, or begins obsessively washing their face when a stranger enters the room, you're witnessing fear management in real time. They're trying to self-soothe, trying to create a sense of normalcy in a moment that feels anything but normal. Over time, this can escalate into over-grooming, bald patches, irritated skin, compulsive behavior that causes actual harm. Number 3. The strategic retreat disguised as indifference. Watch this carefully because it's incredibly subtle. Your cat doesn't run away. That would reveal fear. Instead, they slowly, casually, almost lazily disappear. They stretch. They yawn. They meander toward the door as if they just remembered something mildly interesting in the other room. And then they're gone. This is calculated bravery. Your cat has determined the situation is too threatening, but their instinct tells them that showing fear might make them more vulnerable. So they improvise a performance. I'm not scared. I'm just bored. This party isn't interesting. I have better things to do. Meanwhile, their nervous system is screaming at them to create distance from the perceived threat. The brilliant thing and the heartbreaking thing is how effective this strategy is at fooling us. We see a cat who seems chill, unaffected, maybe even a little aloof. We don't see the animal who's carefully managing their terror with every calculated step. We think they're fine, so we don't intervene. We don't create the safe space they desperately need. Look for the tells: ears slightly flattened, tail low but not between legs, frequent glances back at whatever spooked them. They're monitoring the threat while pretending it doesn't exist. Number 4. The puffed up bluff. Now we're getting into the dramatic performances. You know, the classic Halloween cat pose, back arched, fur standing on end, tail like a bottle brush? That's not aggression. That's fear trying desperately to look like something else. When a cat makes themselves bigger, they're engaging in one of nature's oldest tricks: intimidation through illusion. But here's what most people miss: this display isn't confident. It's a last-ditch effort by an animal who feels backed into a corner. They're essentially saying, I'm scared, but maybe if I look terrifying enough, I won't have to actually fight. The physiology behind this is fascinating. It's called piloerection, and it's an involuntary response controlled by the sympathetic nervous system, the same system that gives humans goosebumps when we're frightened. Your cat isn't choosing to puff up. Their body is doing it automatically because they're flooded with fear hormones. What makes this particularly brave in the truest, most vulnerable sense is that your cat is standing their ground despite being terrified. They haven't fled. They're facing the threat, even though every fiber of their being wants to run. But make no mistake, this is fear, not courage. Real courage would be a cat secure enough not to need the display at all. If you see this behavior, your cat needs you to de-escalate the situation immediately. Number 5. The appetite that vanishes. This one breaks my heart because it's so easy to miss, and by the time you notice, your cat has been suffering in silence for a while. When cats are chronically stressed or frightened, they stop eating. Not because they're not hungry, but because fear shuts down the desire for food at a biological level. Think about it from an evolutionary perspective. If you're a small predator who also happens to be prey for larger animals, eating makes you vulnerable. You're distracted, your guard is down, you're focused on something other than scanning for danger. So, when a cat feels unsafe, even in their own home, their brain sends a clear message: this is not the time to eat. The cruel irony is that cats are so good at hiding their fear that we often don't connect the dots. We think maybe they don't like the food, or they're being picky, or they ate when we weren't looking. But a cat who's skipping meals consistently, who picks at food half-heartedly, who seems interested but then walks away, that's often a cat living in a state of perpetual low-level fear. They're quietly starving themselves because they never feel safe enough to truly relax. Your cat's bravery is real, but sometimes the bravest thing they can do is not pretend anymore. These signs, the freezing, the phantom grooming, the strategic retreats, the puffed-up displays, the vanishing appetite, they're not weaknesses. They're proof of how hard your cat is working to maintain composure in a world that sometimes feels too big, too loud, too unpredictable. But you can learn their language. You can become fluent in the subtle poetry of feline fear. And when you do, you give your cat something invaluable: permission to stop pretending, permission to just be scared. Because when they know you see them, really see them, they can finally stop performing and start healing. So, tell me in the comments, which of these signs have you noticed in your own cat? Have you ever caught them mid-performance, pretending everything's fine when it's clearly not? And if this video helped you understand your cat a little better, hit that like button and subscribe for more content that goes deeper than the surface. Remember, beneath every brave face is a heart that sometimes needs to be held. Be that safe space for your cat. They've been brave long enough.